It is Saturday, it's 8 o'clock, welcome to Tribe TV. If you are on YouTube, share the link. If you're in Facebook, start a watch party. Let's draw people in and get everybody encouraged in all the ways that we can. I really want to stir you tonight with a message that I believe is from heaven. So stick around, we're going to start that teaching any moment. Let me just say though, if you use iTunes podcasts or if you use Spotify, you are going to find podcasts, audios like this and other things to keep you inspired online. Check out my name, Jarrod Cooper, on Spotify or in iTunes, and let us stir you in the things of God. We want to leave you encouraged and inspired. Okay, let's get to it. Let's get to the preach tonight, and let's be stirred by a word from heaven.
In how God uses it in our careers, immeasurable in our work with our children. Different things break through at different times, don't they? And we shouldn't compare and go, okay, we should go, God, more and more, break us through year by year, month by month, decade by decade, until column after column is becoming from measurable to immeasurable blessing, immeasurable to immeasurable. How are we going to build a building in the north of this city that's the biggest church auditorium in the area? How are we going to do that? By a lot more of us getting into immeasurable thinking, getting into immeasurable blessing. So instead of going, oh, well, let's add it up and see what we can afford. Right, we're buying a shed. And I don't mean a big one, I mean a 6x4 from B&Q. We can afford a £98 shed. You can even paint it, Stuart, if you want. If you're measuring, you haven't yet got into gospel. You might be a Christian, but I'm thinking like a pagan. How do I get my mind into immeasurable? This is how you get your mind into immeasurable. Let me take you to the Cooper School of Skiing. Now, the Cooper School of Skiing is a little unusual, but it has lovely spiritual overtones. This is the style of my family. We're the kind of family that doesn't read instruction manuals. Now, that's not the spiritual bit. So when we went to first learn how to ski, I remember this as a young, I don't know what I would have been, early teenager, I suppose, and we just go and hire skis. Lessons are for wimps. We just go and hire skis and head up the mountains of Spain into Sierra Nevada in Spain and just begin to mess about. And I remember vividly, like it was one of my God encounters, I remember it vividly as me and my mum and Jason are stood and my dad's at the top of this kind of medium-sized hill and he starts to career down the hill on his skis, kind of like this. And it was the kiss of death really came when my mum said, "Isn't he doing well?" At that moment, he started to tumble. And he tumbled and tumbled and tumbled and landed at the bottom, skis sticking out like a giraffe on the ground, blood coming from his nose, I think it was. A happy smile in his face, because that's the Cooper family for you. The more daft and adventurous it is, the happier we are. That's how we learned to ski. So as not to just restrict it to my dad, we decided to start the child abuse on my brother. So then it was probably even a different trip, but I'm going to combine it for the sake of good storytelling. We got to an even bigger slope. And my brother, who must have been mid-teens, perhaps a little older, I don't know. I'll get done in by my mum for all of this. It gives this big slope. It's an off-piste slope. It's not an official part of the ski run. There's this big slope with this house at the bottom. And Jason, being Jason, I'd like to have a go at that. And I'm measuring in my head. I don't think I will. Actually, what I was measuring was the walk back up. So Jason set off down the hill, classic Cooper position, heading down the hill on his skis, just going for it, letting go and going for it. And down he goes and he's getting up speed and he's going faster and faster. And then he starts to tumble, which is classic Cooper. He starts to tumble and he's tumbling down this mountain. So we go from A to O. And then he tumbles and comes to a stop, thankfully, just in front of the pillars of this house. And he stops and lands there still. So we go from this to this. And then suddenly he moves. Oh, it's okay, he's moving. If a Cooper moves, he's alive, he's moving. That's fine. And so he waves kind of, yeah, and climbs all the way back up. Then it comes to snowboarding, which is the second part of the Cooper course of skiing. The thing about snowboarding is, Jason knows how to snowboard, so he took me to Canada, and we're up in the Rocky Mountains, and I'm learning to snowboard. So in typical Cooper fashion, I get 2 little goes on a nursery slope, and then it's like, right, black run, here we come. Now, if you don't know anything about black run, there's Stu, you'll have to help me. There's got to be red runs, blue runs, there's probably another colour at least, and then there's black runs. Scary runs. And Jason takes me straight up onto a black run. And we get to the top of this mountain with my 5 minutes on a snowboard experience. He actually didn't even tell me that once you've got onto a ski lift, the ones where you just kind of sit there and you dangle your legs, it's all right getting on, but when you get off, you've got to ski or snowboard off them. So I'm going, so how do we get off this? Surely the thing will stop. No, you've just got to leap. Oh, okay. So, I leapt off. We tumbled basically at the top, and everybody laughed at us. That's the Cooper School of Skiing. Got on this black run. And as I started to go down this what seemed almost sheer vertical slope to me, it was almost like, here's the lesson with all of this story. This is what I'm getting to. The more measured I was, the harder it was. The slower I went. Now, there is too fast also. But the slower I went, I couldn't get up speed to carve a turn. You need a certain speed, a certain letting go, a certain amount of momentum. It's like a bicycle. In order to steer properly, you have to let go to the mountain and just let some speed catch up. Not too much, don't head straight down the hill, but build up speed so that you create balance and you're able to steer correctly. Here's my thought. In order for us to get into the immeasurable of God, there's always an element of letting go. Stop adding up. Too young, too old, too short. Stop the career CV. Amount of money in the bank. We create destiny by adding up. God doesn't. God creates destiny by love. Your destiny will be as great as God's love if you let it be. Not as great as what you're worth. It'll be as great as His love. Let go. Listen, they're my words for really what it says here. I pray that you, being rooted and established, not in the measurement of what you're worth, but established in love, may have power, together with all the saints, to grasp how wide and long and high and deep is the love of Christ. Let go to the love of God. Amen. Get to know this unknowable love. How can I do that? By letting go of what's knowable, what's normal. Anyone filled with the Spirit, the Bible says, people who aren't filled will say you're foolish. Yeah. So when you begin to operate in the goodness of God, you're beginning to operate in stuff that does not make sense. Embrace the love of God. Lean out over the cliff and let the updrafts of God's love begin to hold you up. Anybody here ever been abseiling? And you know what abseiling is? You know, you get a rope and a little figure of 8 or a carabiner, and you're going to head down. And actually the scariest thing, I get vertigo, so all my legs just kind of go, and everything starts to spin. And so I'm at the top. Again, I love my brother, but he's just about traumatized me through my whole life. And so I'm at the top just doing what he likes. Why he didn't play an instrument like me and just sit around playing music being Kenny G, I don't know. I had to go up rock faces and down potholes and scuba diving, and hey, I'm James Bond really. But the thing is, I'm showing you my bum for a reason. Don't be offended. I'll get to it. Anyway. The thing about abseiling is you have to give in and trust because I just can't do it. But if you abseil, not trusting, it never looks like the SAS. It kind of looks like this. Imagine this is vertical and you're abseiling without any real trust. You're not letting go and giving in. It looks like this. Oh no. And you're kind of going down the mountain like this, and your legs are all scrunched up. An instructor will be telling you, straighten your legs. Are you kidding me? I'm 200 feet up. You straighten your legs. But as trust comes, actually you realize the more trust, the easier. The more trust, the more supernatural, the more the magic starts to happen. It's not magic to crawl down a rope on the side of a mountain. It's horrible. But it's magic when you straighten your legs. And then the next thing they'll say to you, because straight legs is not enough, you've also got to lean back. Lean back. Lean back. You doofus. You've got to lean back. How far? Right back. 90 degrees if you want. Are you kidding me? 90 degrees. Right. Okay. And slowly you start to realize it works. I hope you're preaching your own sermon in your head. Trust. Lean back. It works. Let go. Stop measuring. Is it enough? Have they tied it properly? I want to inspect it myself. What if it looks a bit frayed down there? Does it reach the bottom? Am I going to get to the bottom and go, I'm not there yet? Stop measuring. He's God. He's designed this world and made you wonderfully. Trust him. Straighten those legs. Lean right out. What comes next? I'll shuffle down the mountain. No. Come on, bounce. You kidding me? Yeah. And when you're out the furthest, let go. Not completely. Not completely. But just begin to sail. This thing that is going to be 250 steps, you can make it in 20 bounds if you start to lead. Trust the rope completely. You don't even need the mountain. Just begin to bounce and trust. That's when the magic happens. I let go. I stop measuring everything. Me, you, bank balance. And I began to trust. I began to enter the immeasurable. Joy, abseiling, snowboarding, life. Enter the immeasurable. That's who our God is. There is so much more if we just let go and begin to work with God. Let go of the guilt. Oh, bored of Christians walking around with guilt and shame. It's a measurement we set ourselves up against, and therefore everything we receive becomes a product of that worth in us. We box God out of our lives. Stop measuring the fears. Oh, just do it afraid. Ignore the fears. Who cares? I can't do that. I'll be scared. Who cares? Just go for it. Do it afraid. Everyone will know. Everybody's scared most of the time anyway.
Yes.
Adventures are scary. It's part of what makes your heart beat. Stop thinking about your education. Regret is a terrible measurement. Measure, 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 and therefore my future is a result of my measured past. No. My future is a result of the immeasurable love of God. It's going to be as wide as God is. It's going to be as high as God is. It's going to be as deep as God is. Because it's about him, it's not about me. Forget my experiences, my heritage, my age, my looks, my height, my failures. Moses said, who am I? Be encouraged. It's the first action of most men of God. It's completely human. When God shows up with his immeasurable, you go, well, who am I?
Yeah.
It's human nature. We do it all the time. But there comes a day when we have to step in. Who am I? He said, I cannot speak. Looking at his skills. Gideon said, I'm the least. He measured. Isaiah said, I'm unclean. Jeremiah said, I'm too young. Abraham said, I'm too old. Sarah said, how shall this be? Jesus even said, it's not time. That gives us a hint that it's not necessarily sinful until God comes and confronts it with his love and says, time to step from measurable to immeasurable. It's your moment. It's you. Come on. Let's step into this realm. You've learned how to live as a human. Now learn to live as a human with God inside of you. Step up. He said, it's not my time. His mother said basically, yes, it is. Do whatever he says. A miracle's about to break out. He stepped into the immeasurable. Joseph could have counted the injustice against him. But instead, he decided to continue working as God had led him to be as a human being. And he lived in the immeasurable, exceptional glory of a godly attitude. And so God gave him immeasurable authority and power and promotion over the most powerful nation in the whole world at the time. Noah, oh, this would be us, wouldn't it? Noah, if I'd have been Noah, you get this little thing from God, I think it's going to rain. Watch rain. It's never rained before, you see. Watch rain. This would be my reaction. So let's put a bucket out, Vicky, out the front of the tent. And when it starts raining, we'll start building. You see, because I need a sign. I'm going to put a fleece out. I need to measure. I need something a bit more. What he said and what he did on the cross is not enough. I need something a little bit more. I'll measure. When it starts, I'll obey. Oh, no. He had to start building. Decades and decades and decades before it ever rained. Yeah. Something inside of him was capable of receiving an immeasurable level word. Yeah. Right. Is your spirit wide enough? How do you get it that wide enough? Oh, this is easy. How do you get into the purpose of God that wide? Really, really simple. You begin to stretch your mind around his love. So I'm going to stretch my mind. I'm going to stop with my guilt and my shame and my level and my spirituality and my regrets and the stuff I've done wrong and my bank balance. No, I'm going to get my mind that spends way too much time comparing, way too much time wondering what I'm worth, way too much time creating levels in my life, and I'm just going to stretch it around the love of God. And here's the thing, my mind's going out this way and it's going out this way, and I'll realize I'm just getting to the end of my comprehension. Doesn't matter how many scriptures I meditate on, I'm still not reaching the breadth of his love for me. Yeah. It doesn't matter how many times it says he forgives my sin, it's still even better than that. He's wider, he's higher, he's deeper. I'm never going to get his love. I just better jump in the ocean and start enjoying it. Yes. I better start giving in to the great thoughts. Let them shout like thunder in my spirit, because the voice of God is like thunder, not just a still small voice. Let the thunder crash into every measuring room and addition room and finance room in my heart. I love you, smash. And let the ninja of God's word smash into every room of doubt and begin to take captive all the dumb, stinking thinking that makes me, while I believe in God, in my heart, makes me live with restriction in my head. Yeah. Right. It doesn't say as a man is in his heart, so will he live. Yeah. I've got to get the filter of my mind around it too. It's not enough to just sense he loves me. I've got to get a hold of these grey cells until my shoulders, with an unusual blend of humility and confidence, can be upright and go, he loves me. Yeah. Yeah. And that doesn't make me cocky with you. It means I can love you 70 times you might annoy me. Not you, Rob, never. 70 times you might annoy me. 70 times you're going to get nothing but a river of grace. Wow. If I knew his love, if I really knew his love. See, I measure me. I measure you too. Yeah. And it's wrong. Yeah. Don't judge, lest you be judged. It's because we spend time measuring others and we live with measure for ourselves. Oh, God, wash all that away. Yes. You know what's going to build a building on Kingswood? Love. Yeah. You know what's going to touch thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people across the north of England through the work that God enables us to do? It's going to be his love washing through us. We're so loved up. We're so forgiven. We're so, I'm with you all the way. We're so able to laugh about the fact that there's some days I feel a fake and there's some days you feel a fake, and neither of us are fakes. We love Jesus. The gospel saves us from all the stuff of the past. It's God that does it. How are we able to stand on high places? Because of his love. Takes all the cockiness out, takes all the pride out, and you just go, well, I just love him. Look what he's done. Yes. I just love him. Yeah. We've got to step away. I remember there being one little moment, and if I can just end and use this to exemplify what I mean. There was one little moment for me in my life, in just a small way. And I could probably line up different stories, but I love it when God bursts through with the measurable. Most of us get used to operating at a certain level. And then somehow we hit something and we break through and we go, oh, hang on a minute. I think I just walked in heaven's power for a moment. Wow. I remember being in this little meeting, 20, 30 people, and I just began to pray, and the prayer grew into prophecy around the room to different people. Some of you will have heard this story, but let's use it to exemplify. It's an illustration. And I'm getting through, and I'm starting to get into a flow. So as you get into a flow, you start to let go and just flow. And I'm getting to like person 12 and then person 15, and it's getting to 16, 17, 18. And now it's just coming out, and I'm just praying, and the praying's turned to prophecy, and I'm starting to know stuff I couldn't possibly know. And by the way, they're crying. I know it's either really good or the other. And so, and I get to this guy and I said, and you, young man, God would say to you, like Jean-Luc Picard would say to Commander Riker and the Starship Enterprise, make it so, number one. God says to you, make it so, number one. And suddenly measurement kicked in and I went, what on earth are you doing, Cooper? What I didn't know, he burst into tears. He came up after me after the service and said, I was watching Star Trek Wednesday night, and the relationship between Jean-Luc Picard and Commander Riker, I was watching it because it's like a father-son relationship as well as a commander and number one kind of relationship. And I was crying watching Star Trek because I never had a relationship with my dad. And I knew I'd never had what Jean-Luc Picard and Commander Riker had. And so I'm crying about the fact that I haven't got a father or ever had a father like that. And then 3 days later, someone walks through the door and says to me, and God would say to you, like Jean-Luc Picard would say to Commander Riker, make it so, number one. Make it so, number one. You've just told me God's my father. Amen. Now I'd love to tell you I operate in prophecy like that all the time. I'll tell you your phone number. There was something about letting go and entering a place of momentum that I stepped from the measurable to the immeasurable. We've got to somehow start letting go of the grey mediocrity of measuring our lives and grow a momentum together that enables us to step into the immeasurable. What is it all about? It's about his love. It's about an ocean instead of the lanes of a swimming pool. It's about, hey guys, here's our vision, here's our dream, and it's just as important corporately as individually. You are as important as any corporate dream we might have. I believe there's oceans of dreams and power and grace and the availability of the wonders of heaven. If we could grasp this, what house might you be living in? What car might you be driving? What nations may you have been to? What people would you have led to the Lord? What ministries would you have started? What homeless ones would you have put in homes? And what people without clothes on would you have clothed? What prisoners would you have brought to the Lord? What blind eyes would you have opened? What deaf ears would you have opened? If only we stepped into the immeasurable love of God and said, God, I'm not going to keep disqualifying myself. I'm going to say, because of Calvary, I'm qualified. I'm able. I'm forgiven. I'm loved. He can do it. He can do it. Today, God, I stop the measuring. And I begin to meditate on the immeasurable.
Well, I hope tonight God has encouraged you or touched your life in some way. Please leave a comment or email us. We'd love to hear from you if you've been encouraged by these broadcasts. There is a free album waiting for you to download if you sign up to our e-news. And now, if you stick around, I'm going to tell you about the Tribe, our online learning community. And if you want to come and get involved in that and get connected and stay connected to us in the future, then join our Tribe. Hi, I'm Jarrod Cooper. I want to tell you about the Tribe. The Tribe is our global online learning community made up of believers, leaders, pastors, influencers, artists, all devoted to growing in God together. We're passionate about the things of the Spirit, growing in prophecy, miracles, signs, wonders. We're passionate about revival and the reformation of society, God doing something that will transform the world around about us. And we're passionate about great leadership, doing things with skill and integrity that, again, will impact the world around about us. There's 3 tiers to the Tribe. The basic level is Learn, and that's access to our growing library, over 400 units of video, audio, and e-courses to grow you in your faith and walk with God. There's a private Facebook group, an Instagram group where you can interact with others and with us in a more live way. Tier 2 is called Lead, and it's our global leadership tribe where we add a lot more leadership content. As soon as you join, you get 4 of my books on leadership and how to grow in the area of leadership. And every book that we write during your membership, you will get for free sent to you as an ebook. And then that tier has its own private Facebook group and Instagram group where you can connect with others that are growing in the same journey. Tier 3 is an extension of Tier 2 really. It's called Lead Plus, and it's where you can take your whole team, up to 10 people, and have them join under one membership so you're all learning and growing together. I want to invite you to join us on this journey. Join us in the Facebook group, the Instagram group where we can interact together, and then enjoy the massive amount of teaching on the Tribe Zone that could absolutely transform your ministry. Isn't it wonderful that we can connect around the world like this now with the power of the internet? Let's use it for good, and let's walk together and grow together in the things of God.